is the time to learn the 10 reasons you should give up control of how your divorce is going to end up. So, hey, it's Carrie Sue Doxy, just doing one of my little videos to kind of help walk you through your divorce, lessen your stress, and educate you on, some realistic expectations of how things are going to go and what you should expect. So, in that thought process, today we're really focusing on what can you control. So what's really hard in a divorce is you're super nervous, you don't know what's going to happen, you probably have some major realistic issues that you have to deal with, like, do I have to move? If I do move, how am I going to afford it? Am I going to be able to find a place? What am I supposed to do about the car insurance and getting that separated out? And what am I supposed to do about my health insurance? And what am I supposed to do about hiring an attorney? And how much is this going to cost? And, right? So like when you're starting this process, your brain just goes crazy. There's not a lot you can do about it because it's super natural, for those things to happen. You're nervous, you're not very happy, probably about having to get divorced in the first place. You could be super sad and really kind of struggling to make decisions because, the decision to get divorced is not yours. So there could be lots and lots of different reasons why your brain is going a little bit crazy. But what I want to focus on is 10 things that you can control, okay? The first thing that you can control is not always how you think about this process, but you can control the fact that in your brain, you know that you have to be somewhat logical when you make your decisions rather than being emotional. So what you can control is when something happens, when something comes up, right? You don't have to make a decision right that second, okay? You can go ahead and wait 24 hours, wait 48 hours, wait until you talk to an attorney. You don't have to know all the answers right from the start. You can look at this as a step-by-step process and stop trying to feel like you have to have everything figured out from the second that you decide that you're getting divorced or that your spouse tells you that you're getting divorced, right? So you can control that. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's definitely something that you can control. Don't be reactive, right? Just wait until you are not in a high peak, at least emotional state, when you are making your decisions. So that's super number one. Number two is going to be you can hire an attorney to get advice. Obviously, that is my recommendation. That is not always the case for everyone. Not everybody can afford an attorney. If you can't, because you're a stay-at-home wife, mom, whatever that is, you have not been in the workforce, you may have some issues and problems with that, but you can at least go get a free consultation. Most attorneys do offer a free consultation, and even if it's a paid consultation, it is, maybe anywhere between $100 and $200, okay? So that's something that you can control. You also, even if you can't get an attorney, you can check out the state of Missouri's website for pro se litigants, okay? PRO, next word SE, next word litigant, okay? And they have a course that tells you, it's not very good, it's It's a whole one pager, but it's better than nothing. And it can tell you a little bit about how to protect your rights. There's definitely free fillable forms in there for you. So you can, file your own divorce, file an answer, whatever that is. So that really brings us to number 3 of what you can control. And either way, you can control that you're just not going to let your spouse walk all over you, right? So even if your spouse files, you have the tools that are out there for free to file an answer, to file your financials, so your budget, your list of what you say are all of the assets and debts. So you definitely have that control and something that is for free. Certainly, okay, that is going to push the case to be a contested case. Now, I'm not saying that it's probably a good idea for you to represent yourself. It depends on your assets. It depends on if you have children. It depends on a lot of factors, okay, which you'd have to kind of check out some other of my posts on this kind of subject, but those are the biggest things, okay? So you can control the fact that your spouse is not going to walk all over you. All right, so number 5, you can control what you are doing about moving out, okay? So your spouse, if your name is on the title to the house, or if your name is on the lease agreement, your spouse cannot force you to move out unless there's an order of protection, okay? So you have time to figure out who's moving out and how you're moving out, and you definitely should be looking for places to go. Even if you think you're going to be the one that stays in the house, it's a good idea to at least start looking. And part of the reason this is super important, and I say this all the time, is that if you have choices, you're going to feel more comfortable when you have to make decisions. So you can be in control of making choices, which brings us also to number 6. And that is on some of these practical things, whether you should go get another bank account, whether you should go ahead and try to separate your car insurance, whether you should go ahead and go get your health insurance, all of those things, same thing. You should be looking into all of those options. Again, a lot of my other posts talk more specifically and give advice about these things. Even in my DIY divorce course, I have lessons on all of these things, so the answers are there. You may just have to Google it, right? It depends. A lot of those answers depend on who your insurance provider is. Whether your spouse can keep you on their insurance after the divorce. Most of the time the answer is no, but it's not 100%. And obviously the court would have to order that they continue to pay. But especially, for people who it's not costing them anymore to keep you on, if the insurance provider allows it, then the court's probably going to order it because it's a benefit to both parties. Car insurance, look, you can probably take your policy and move it over to something else, but you probably can't boot your spouse off the policy that you guys have together right now. So you just have to look through all of things, Google these things, check out some of my other handouts, podcasts, all of videos and other things. Check that out to see what is a good thing. All right, so we are now to the fact that you can control several things, and we are to the lucky number 7. And the other thing I think that you can control as well is taking control over what your finances are from here on out. Okay, so that could be whether you better hurry up and go get credit cards in your own name while you're still married, because maybe your credit's not great and you're not going to be able to get them after. Maybe that is looking for a new job that is going to give you some additional income, or a second job. If you are a stay-at-home wife, honestly, again, unless your spouse is making a bunch of money, they probably don't have money to pay you. And so this concept that a lot of women have that they're going to get maintenance is a lie. Again, you need to go get advice from an attorney to see what the likelihood may be before you make these decisions. But if you already know that you guys are barely making it, you better go get a job right now. You cannot assume that your spouse is going to be paying you maintenance. Now, until the divorce is over, maybe you guys are still living in the house together, and maybe you're still paying the bills the way that you are right now. But you need to be proactive about that. You will be allowed to probably live in the house, remember, until the divorce is over. But it takes a while. You've got to get first and last month's rent put together. So it takes a while. You know, once you go get a job, it takes maybe 2 weeks before you get your first paycheck. And then you've got to start saving money so that you can move out. You can talk to your spouse about if they can maybe help you to move out, because a lot of times the courts will do that. They may not order maintenance, but they may say, look, in order for the spouse to move out, husband's going to have to give a little bit of money to help go towards that first and last month's rent. So again, those are things that you do need to kind of start taking control over. Don't just go into paralysis. And I know it's really hard. Like, I've been there, I've done that. I still say I went through one of the worst divorces that I've ever had in my 25 years of being an attorney. So I get it, I've been there. You can't always do that. So that really does bring us to number 8. What can you control? You can't control your spouse. You can't control the fact that this is the direction where you're headed. But what you can control is finding people to be your support system. Now, I get the fact that that may not be family right now. I get the fact that that may not be close friends right now. Maybe you don't know which, your friend is going to choose your husband or you. Like, who gets the friends in the divorce? And obviously, there's a lot of pressure sometimes with family. Sometimes people have this feeling that they failed, even though that's not the case. But you need to take control over having somebody to talk to. Even if that's just joining a Facebook group, a divorce Facebook group. Somebody who doesn't even know you, you can do that. You can look for, different podcasts that are out there that are helpful with advice for divorce. Like I said, you can join Facebook groups. You can find books. You can, there's all kinds of great resources out there. And in fact, whether it's in my DIY course, whether that is information that I'm giving as an attorney, I love to give those kind of resources to people. So definitely make sure that you take control over finding someone who's going to listen. Now, that leads us to number 9. And this is a big one. I want you to pay attention. If you don't want to lose all of your friends, you have to learn to talk about something other than this divorce. Okay? It's your whole world. Your world is falling apart. It's all you can think about. Like, I understand. Okay? Now, some of you guys may not be experiencing this because some people actually walk out of the courtroom holding hands or they hug each other. They're still really good friends. They just shouldn't be married anymore. So there's, whatever. But there's still probably some other stuff kind of going on, just feeling sad about the fact that that's kind of where you are, what else. So definitely make sure that you are controlling what's coming out of your mouth. Just don't make it a 24/7 conversation, especially with your close friends and family. If you cannot, stop talking about it. Like I said, join a Facebook group. Find a different outlet. Now, it doesn't mean you can't talk to your friends. It doesn't mean that your friends aren't sympathetic. It doesn't mean your family isn't sympathetic. It doesn't mean any of those things. But at some point, people start avoiding you. Like, for real. Like, you don't want to be in that position. Your friendships may never really recover if, that's kind of where you are on that, all right? So, we've gone all the way, and now we're at number 10. The last thing that I think that you can control, and that is going to be that you can control not the results of your divorce, but you can control to a certain degree what your chances are, okay? So if you bury your head in the sand and you don't protect yourself, you don't file an answer, you just let your spouse do whatever, you're not protecting yourself. If you don't take the time to correctly fill out your financials and to correctly list all of your assets and debts, even if this is a simple, easy divorce, you may screw it up, all right? Again, if it's simple and easy, that's why I kind of have my DIY divorce, because every day I have people come in because they need a judgment. Like maybe they have real estate, so they can't use the form on the state's website. Maybe they have kids, whatever the case may be. And inevitably, they have filled their stuff out wrong. They either have only put in their property and not their spouse's, or they only put in like the car, the bank account, and their retirement. They didn't put any of the personal property in because they figure, well, it's already divided, but the court has to make a decision that the division is fair and equitable. So don't make stupid little mistakes, which obviously you don't necessarily know about. So you either need to do more research because the state's website's not enough, get my DIY divorce course, talk to an attorney, schedule an appointment with my office, do something, but make sure that you don't make, dumb mistakes. And, it also kind of comes back to as well that if you are trying to do this yourself, one of the big problems that people have is they don't know how to get on the stand and testify. Now, some of the judges will walk you through things, but a lot of them won't. So you need to kind of find out, what does your county do, right? Are you going to need some help? So I have a testimony webinar. There's a testimony checklist in my DIY. Maybe you can use limited scope representation and hire an attorney just to come to the hearing with you. But these are kind of things that you can have control over. Now, if you have an attorney, you need to cooperate. You need to be checking your emails all the time. You need to be getting your homework done when the attorney needs it to be back to the office. You need to be talking to the paralegal. You need to put something in the subject line of every email that you send to your attorney so they know whether this is just something for information, whether this is something that is a fire that you need resolved in a couple of days, or whether this is kind of an issue that needs to be resolved, but it's not, an immediate need. You need to communicate those things, because the better and more accurate you are in your communication with your attorney, the faster they are going to respond, okay? And don't send 500 emails. Start keeping track of the questions that you have. So when you go in for your appointment, or in my case, I always have telephone conferences all along the way. So make sure that you're keeping track of all the things that you need an answer to. If you want to keep down your bill, that is the way to do it. Don't send 10 emails, because now you are getting charged for 10 emails. Talk about it in the telephone conference. It'll go faster. You'll get better answers to your questions anyway, right? So do the kind of smart things that are going to help you in your representation, which in turn then gets better chances for better results, okay? So I know we've kind of had about 20 minutes here, kind of probably losing some attention span going on, but I just wanted to give you 10 things that you can learn to control. Kind of in closing, I want you to think about this. What happens in your divorce is only partially going to depend on you. There are some things you can control, there's some things that you cannot. You can control what evidence goes in front of the judge, but you can't control how the judge is going to rule on that evidence and what the result is going to be based on that evidence, right? So if you don't participate at all, you're not putting anything in front of the judge. If you're at least doing stuff to protect yourself, at least you have the opportunity to put evidence on in front of the judge. If you are hiring an attorney and you really are cooperating and you're doing a good job and you're getting all kinds of information in there, you realize that the paralegal is your best asset. Make sure that you're communicating well with the paralegal so they know everything that's going on, because they will bug the attorney for things that need to be finished. So do everything that you can. Get them all the information. Do it on a timely basis. Make sure that you're not sending 5 million emails for every single thing that pops into your head. You can keep down your bill, and that's a big thing too. Like, there's your bonus. Number 11 is sometimes you can somewhat control what's going on with your billing. Now, you can't control the other party, but you can control how you're communicating and how you are being billed. So there's your bonus. But anyway, guys, just remember, at the end of the day, it is what it is. There's not a ton that you can do. There's some things that you can do, but don't just give up either, okay? So that is my encouragement for you to stop feeling like you have to have control over everything. Stop trying to have control over everything and making yourself crazy, running up your attorney fees and everything else. So wishing you the best of luck. As always, you know, Law in Kansas City is always here to help. We try to do a lot of this free content to help, you know, our potential clients, our current clients, make sure that your experience going through the divorce is the best that it can be. So thanks, guys. Enjoy your day.